Patriots, welcome back to our show. It's Patriots of the Republican American, and here we are with our second segment of the day, and we're going to be talking about Joe Biden's mental decline. Saul, open us up. What do you have to say about his decline?
Well, welcome back, Patriots. Joe Biden's mental decline it's evident. Even though the news tries to hide it and protect him and everything, it's evident. I mean, there was about a month ago or 2 months ago, Carlos, where he turned around to try to shake someone's hand and at the podium, and literally there wasn't anybody
Nobody was there.
And he did a complete 360 pretty much all around him to try to find someone, and the person wasn't there. So even before the election, it was evident that Biden's mental decline was showcasing big time, to the point that it's starting little by little of the media getting some coverage by the media, even by the by the leftist media. But yeah, with many signs of pretty much his mental decline was when he was running for president, and he was asked what he was running for, and he literally said, running for U.S. Senate. I believe he said it at a debate or at an event. So he has had many gaffes pre the election and post-election as well.
Yep. So as a matter of fact, he actually said it twice, once in North Carolina. I'm not sure where the other one was. It was on his campaign route, and he clear as day said that he was running for U.S. Senate. So let's take a pause and let's watch that video, and we'll watch the other gaffes that he has coming up.
You know, we have to come together. That's why I'm running. I'm running as a proud Democrat for the Senate. I'm here to ask you for your help. Where I come from, you don't get far unless you ask. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Because you can't build a wall high enough to keep out a vaccine. The vaccine can stop the spread of these diseases. If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway. Mr. Vice President, and to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn turn. This is my little sister Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh no, you switched on me. 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk. That's why I made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago, as well as my tenure as vice president. Unnecessarily, now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. Hey, everyone. I'm Joe Biden's husband.
So I mean, we'll pause it right there. But my gosh, I don't know who looks at that and says, "Yes, that's the leader of the. That's why I want to lead me. That's why I want to be the leader, the commander in chief." Right? Talking about hairy legs and roaches and. What is that about?
And Corn Pop. I remember that conversation, that video. He mentioned about him getting into a fight with Corn Pop.
Corn Pop, yeah. It's a shame I don't have a box of Corn Pops. It's a shame I don't have
absolutely. It's absolutely. It's hilarious and hysterical, but at the same time, in the reality, it's sad. It's sad because that's supposed to be the leader of the greatest country in the world, right? So obviously, he doesn't portray any good leadership. Any good strength, and confidence. So, not to make fun of a decline, a mental, decline of a person, because at some point we're all going to age. But our point is that yes, it shouldn't be the leader of the free world, right? It shouldn't be the leader, quote unquote, of the United States of America. So, how can people continue believing what he says, what he does? Obviously, he's in a steep mental decline and physical as well. When he fell down the stairs, of the Air Force One, when he recently fell off of a bicycle. So it's not funny to see that. It actually puts the United States of America in a very, very precarious eyes to the rest of the world. It shows weakness. So, Carlos, honestly, the media, the leftist media that are covering for him, they should definitely stop doing that and report the reality, which we can all see it. Everybody can hear it, see it, and know it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So him falling off of his bike, and listen, to your point, we're not trying to make fun of Joe Biden. He's very old. He's not cognitively there because of his age. He should not be in this position. Let's be honest and let's be clear. The Democrats forced him into this position. He was, if I'm not mistaken, either last or second to last, and I'm pretty sure it was last of the Democrats to jump into the race. And I think the reason why is because all the other candidates that were on there, including Kamala Harris, could not hold the weight. They could not compete with Trump one-on-one. So they brought in Joe Biden, not because he was a great leader, a great politician, a great whatever. It was simply because of his attachment to Obama.
Most certainly, Carlos. And if you go back to a few weeks ago when Obama visited the White House, where everybody's greeting Obama, they're talking to Obama, and pretty much everybody's ignoring Joe Biden.
Correct.
Absolutely sad video. And it shows, in my opinion, who's truly running the country. Carlos, this is arguably, it could be argued that this is Barack Hussein Obama's third term. And he's pulling the strings behind the scenes. Who knows? That's my personal opinion. But just by that meeting at the White House, that left a lot to think about.
I understand where you're coming from. I'm not sure if I totally agree, but I do feel it, right? Because he even said it. Hey, if I could, he did an interview and he said, hey, if I could sit from home and have somebody running the country for me, that'd be great. Kind of like a third term,
now,
right?
You wish like you had a third term. And I used to say, you know what? If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. I'd be fine with that.
Quite honestly, there are a lot of comparisons between the way this administration handles things to the way that that administration handled things. You know, for instance, if we look at the Afghanistan withdrawal, heck, we withdrew, we left our equipment there, and then an Islamic terrorist organization took it over and became more powerful. Well, that's very similar to what Obama did back in, like, I don't know, what was it, 2010, 11 or something like that, when he pulled, when he pulled out the troops out of Iraq, and he leaves military equipment behind. ISIS gets a hold of it, and they wreak havoc across the Middle East. So there's a lot of similarities between the two administrations.
Other similarities, Carlos. I couldn't agree more. And yeah, it's definitely showing. It's definitely showing. Even I believe earlier this week or late last week, he was reading a teleprompter, and he actually read the words in parentheses that pretty much said, repeat the line.
Majority writes, and I quote, women, it's a quote now from the majority, women are not without electoral or political power. It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so, end of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or political power.
End quote, repeat the line.
End quote, repeat the line. So, it definitely creates a laugh, but it shows the severity of the situation. How sad and how much of a weakness as a leader, quote unquote, that he's supposed to be, right? He's not showing too much leadership, too much mental fortitude or mental health. So we'll see what continues happening.
So let me ask you this. You did mention before that some of the media is starting to turn. For the entire year of last year, they were protecting him. And you're right. I have seen some segments in the news media where they're starting to throw him under the bus, to be quite honest with you. I saw an interview, or was it an interview? No, they were asking him. A reporter was asking him a question as he was walking by about how Democrats aren't really supporting him largely. They don't want him to run, and he gets a little bit flustered, and he talks about how 92% of them want him to run, which I don't see that. I don't see a large amount of Democrats this year in 2022 really standing up for him the way I saw it last year.
Mr. President, what's your message to Democrats who don't want you to run again?
They want me to run.
2/3 say they don't.
Read the polls. Read the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same. That poll showed that 92% of Democrats, if I ran, would vote for me.
A majority of Democrats say they don't want you to run again in 2024.
92% said if I did, they'd vote for me.
Well, they are both talking about the New York Times Siena College poll, but the 92% number that the president cherry-picked is only referring to Democratic support in a hypothetical rematch with Donald Trump. The reporter there was correct that overall 64% of Democrats think somebody else should run in 2024. And it gets worse. 94% of Democrats under the age of 30 want a different nominee altogether. And only 13% of Americans believe the country is on the right track. Jack.
So yeah, basically that statistic that he mentioned about the 92% is that 92% of Democrats right now at this moment would back him up versus a showdown with Trump again.
Oh,
However,
okay.
when another statistic came out, then the percentage of Democrats that would support him running again in 2024, it's a way lower number. So obviously, we know Joe Biden gets aggressive and gets pretty much butthurt, in my opinion, whenever he gets challenged with an actual question. And we saw that with our reporter. We have seen that during his campaign trail, talking very meaningful to potential voters. So people can see through this, Carlos.
Yep, absolutely. Now, you're absolutely right. Now, the interesting part is since that turn from the media shifting, we can obviously see a little bit more transparency into that. What I'm curious about on a world stage, right? How does it look on a world stage? Like if we're making fun of him or we're, concerned, worried, whatever, word you want to use to fit it, how do our allies see him? And then more importantly, how do our enemies see him?
Great question, Carlos. Our allies see Joe Biden as a weak president. They see him as someone that has created even more problems here in our country. They see him as a failed leader that's not stepping through and continues not to take responsibility for his own actions and executive orders like the shutdown of the pipeline. But again, he deflects all the blame onto others. Everything's Russia, Putin, and never about himself. I strongly believe that a true leader, whenever he or she fails, should and takes accountability and ownership of failed actions or things that didn't go well. A true leader does that, even if that leader fails in an attempt of achieving something. And we don't see that with Joe Biden. The country doesn't see it, and other countries around the world definitely don't see it, to the point that he has tried to call the United Arab Emirates and multiple countries in the Middle East, and they haven't even picked up his calls or returned his calls.
Yep, they've ignored
now,
his calls.
He is in Israel, and he's going to visit other countries in the Middle East, which we all know what those visits are for, begging for oil and fuel, obviously. But no, in my opinion, our allies see him as a weak link in the chain, in the global chain.
Absolutely.
And how do our enemies see him? Well, super weak, because enemies have gotten even more emboldened with their actions. We see what Russia's doing. China is moving on like a freight train. Iran, North Korea, they continue doing their thing. So they know that Joe Biden, it's definitely not Donald Trump.
Absolutely. And listen, the two things that you want is you want your allies to respect you and you want your enemies to fear you. and
Sure.
and our allies definitely don't respect us. At least I'm not seeing that respect on a global stage, right?
No.
You know, and our enemies. I mean, it's like a hive's nest right about now. I mean, all the people that Trump had basically calmed down are revving back up again. I mean, remember the tension that happened between Trump and Rocket Man Kim Jong-un, right? And how the media said that he was going to start World War III, and that never took place, right? That was some more fake news. And
Correct.
what did he do? He actually went to the DMZ zone, met with him. The guy started to calm down a little bit. He's like, all right, I'll play ball with Trump, you know. And then here comes Biden, and he starts ramping up his rhetoric again. Putin, right, obviously starts to invade Ukraine. When was the last time that he invaded Ukraine? Oh, wait, that was during the Obama administration when there was more weakness on a global stage, right? So it seems like the Democrats are really tough when it comes to bullying conservatives here in the mainland, but they seem really, really weak in front of our enemies, and they just like to appease them all the time.
Certainly, Carlos, a great point, and I couldn't agree more. The Democrats seem to just focus on us, on the U.S. citizens, and specifically us, the conservative, the Trump supporters, the ones who believe in God and freedom and the Second Amendment. So it's sad. It's sad how they want to be bullies here with their own citizens, even though we disagree with them politically. But they show so much weakness around the world, because they want to go with this woke global agenda, trying to play ball with the globalists. So that's what's happening. You know, it is absolutely disgrace what's happening under this Biden / Barack Hussein Obama administration.
2.0, Obama 2.0.
Well, 3.0.
3.0, Obama 3.0. You're right. Well,
Right. By the way, that is a great shirt that you have there. What does it say?
it says raise lions, not sheep.
Bravo. That's what we need. That's what we need more.
Yeah,
Raise
absolutely.
lion, not sheep.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it was great talking about this particular subject matter. I think it's really important because let me tell you, as the leader of our country, right? We need somebody who's going to be strong. We need somebody who's going to be sharp. We need somebody who's going to be capable. Just like in any position, we cannot have somebody sleeping at the wheel, or the engine's on but nobody's behind the wheel type of thing, running our country, having access to nuclear codes, being able to say, hey, we're going to go to war with these people, even though I know that's got to go through the Senate approval, but making these big decisions. And somebody has to be, the person who's in that seat really has to be cognitively able to do that, in my opinion.
Excellent point, Carlos. We always, the leader is going to be someone who's sharp, who's attentive, who doesn't rely on a teleprompter, and doesn't rely on his handlers to show him literally where to go in the White House lawn. So obviously, his weakness is showing. His mental decline, it is a factor, and it seems like it continues to increase, unfortunately. Again, not to make fun of that particular situation with him, because at some point we're all going to age. However, he shouldn't be the person running the country.
Yep.
The best country in the world still.
Amen. So that concludes our segment. Let's go ahead and take a pause, and we will end quote and repeat the line again. We'll see you guys next for the next segment. Take care.
Take care, Patriots.